finally out again. I don't know what's going on with the weather at the moment, but this is the second dry day we've had since Christmas, or rather since the week after Christmas, I think it was. So it's pretty much the second dry day this year, which is nuts even for Wales. We've had one dry day this year last week, and then it instantly rained for another week, which is all pretty terrible. Anyway, this is the second dry day, so well, surprise surprise, GoPro batteries are already playing up. A battery reporting 99% is deciding that it just won't run. It's a low battery, it says. Absolute nonsense. I'm not far off having to seriously consider swapping out a GoPro for an action cam or something similar, because the amount of problems I have with the batteries is just ridiculous. So, it is the end of February. I think it's still the end of February. It might even be March now. I don't know. It's a Saturday. It's late on in the day. I've been itching to get out for quite a few weeks, but the weather's just been terrible. And then my wife had a flu bug that lasted about 3 weeks. 2 weeks into that I got it, so that was another 3 weeks on top of that, 3.5 weeks. Really terrible cough, really just feeling awful all the time. So that just scuppered any chance of coming out at any point. Plus the rain just kills your enthusiasm, right? I may be out for a day, I may be out for 2 days today, I don't know yet. I had the chance to go pretty much anywhere I wanted to, but I've got a new tent to try, which I've not even taken out the bag, so I don't know how it pitches. I think the weather was too blowy down at the Brecons or something like that, or even up north, Reynolds. I think it's just too wet, too damp everywhere. So I'm back to good old favourite permission spot, just to be sensible with the first try out of this tent. So far the weather's looking okay. The moon's out nice and early. There are some clouds, I'll spin you around. You see the moon in the centre there? There's a few little wispy clouds, but nothing too bad. But anyway. So as long as the rain holds off, at least until the tent's up, then we should be okay. Right, so I'm just going to have a look around, because it's quite a large tent, so I'm just going to check this other area up here. Well, not large, but large enough. Nope, don't like that. I think we'll just stick to where we are. Clear some stuff away first. Okay. Okay, so new tent. This is the 3FUL gear Shell 2 with the double pole attachment and the second pole. So that should be interesting. I've not put this up before. In fact, not really in the bag, other than to put the pole in. It's got the normal, quite nice 3FUL gear bag. That's the second pole that you can purchase. And that, if you can see it, is the double pole connector that I'll show when I put it all together. Usual throwaway bits of material that get instantly lost. I'll put them back in the bag, but they never last. I'm just going to move up here. So, what do we have? In the bag we have tent pole, for which there will be two. Footprint, which is quite nice to have. And some pegs. So let's see what we get. Yep. Pretty standard X pegs, these ones. And what looks like a little repair patch, maybe. Yeah. Cool, won't be using those. Use my own pegs. Don't like these little ones too much. So, it does come with the outer and inner knot attached. Just so you know, in case you're going to take it out first time out in crappy weather. Keep that in mind. Right, there's my pegs. Look at this. Now I believe you can attach the footprint, but I'm not entirely sure. It has got bungee corners on the looks of it. Now, interestingly, this tent isn't square. It's a combination tent. So it is part normal pole structure and part chicken pole. Chuck some pigs in there for now. Oh, lost my hat. Sure you can see that. Let's have a look. You can see it sort of has wings out the side, which will make much more sense in a second. So what you're looking at there is, that's the basic shape of the tent, and the wings are the vestibules. So it's not too bad there. Yep, that'll do for the sec. Let's see what else we get here. Let's just check that we're reasonably flat first. Flat enough. poles. Yeah, pretty standard. I'll try that again. Pretty standard style 3FUL gear pole. I don't really know what the width is. Standard aluminium pole. I'll put something on the screen if I can find it. And then the second pole that I bought with the kit should be the same. Okay. Right, next thing to do is the fly. Yeah, and that's the inner. Now then, so where the pole sits in to these sleeves, to these attachment points, you can, if you purchase the pole setup, interestingly you get 3, that's good. So I could mess about, get all this replaced, change all this over and blah 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 blah, but for now I don't need to do that. Let's do that the other way. In theory, at least, I can just replace it with the second 2-port bit. What do we call that? Seat, I guess? Pole seat? Over the top of the single one. Yeah, should be fine. Right, so, interestingly, closer, the single one's slightly thicker. I guess it's taking more strain on its own on one point, so it might even be a different material. I think that's, yeah, that's a different material. That's a stronger piece of stainless there. That's one side. And I just need to do the same on the other side. Make sure I do it over the top. There we go, and you get a spare, which is quite useful. I can imagine these coming off. So let's see how we get on. So this tent has a pole in the centre and has 2 trekking poles, or rather requires the use of 2 tracking poles to set up properly. I will say it's a little tricky. There's an end. There's an end. There's a pole. Right. So what we've got is
think. Yep. Pole sleeve here. And then it's just same again with the second pole. Nothing fancy. It's a little tight, but that's just to be expected really. The second pole through, so I'm going to go around and attach the other side. Like that. And the tricky part here, I suspect, is going to be getting this end in without everything pinging out. But we will see. That's not too bad. Okay. So now I'm going to peg out the end, at least one end, and we'll see where we get on there before we do any other adjustments. I suspect this is going to take a lot of fettling. So you get that far, and then what you do, get your trekking pole. And in theory, hopefully, if I've read this right, something like that. That goes on there, and then these peg out. Somewhere like that, and then it's down to the other side to make it all work. I will say, this is not the simplest of designs, but we'll see what happens in a second. I mean, let's just sort this end out. Pretty large, at least on the outside. It's reasonably low down. Let's have a look on the inside. Right. I'm one peg short. Oh well. I'll use one of those. Standard sort of door toggle. Not bad though. Pretty large. Yeah, I need to get this tightened up a bit. Let's see if we can get the unit assembled. Oh. Okay, let's see where we are. Now I'm going to assume that the inner, yeah, it's double doored, so it doesn't really matter too much. Let's get some one on there. That one on there. I don't quite have the ground sheet properly in the right place, but it'll do, I think. Ah, I got that the wrong way around. Yep. Okay. So it's got a J-shaped door. So it needs to be the other way around. It's sort of in. Not bad. Plenty of ventilation. I worry about how flappy that might get. But look, got some vents either end and a mesh pocket, vents in the door apex, and the same the other side. Bathtub floor comes up a few inches, not too bad. This isn't taut yet, but it's not bad. So I think I just need to get some things fixed. Yeah. Definitely a little on the baggy side, but nothing that can't be changed, I think. Anyway, that's that bit. Right. That's that little bit done, so let's get my chair set up and I'll show you those in a sec. I've only used this chair. Have I ever used it? Maybe once. And this was a chair that was recommended by Mick from our Mick Outdoors. Because it has adjustable legs. Which means you can sit higher up or lower down, depending on what you want to do. I think that's quite good. And then what I found is none of the normal feet fit, but these do. They're an Amazon one. And if I remember, probably won't, but if I do remember, I'll put the link in the description. They should just slide over. Oh. Not easy to fit. and this is the first time I've put them on, so unsurprisingly they're a little stiff, but that's okay. Ooh. You can tell I've not left the house in almost 2 months. You can tell I've not really been 100% either. Wow. It's 20 to 5. I think the sundown is 5:30 today, but it'll start getting dark soon as it comes over the mountain. It goes a bit low. Ooh. So, first impressions of this tent. I can imagine it being a bit of a pain to get right in the wind. That really difficult, I would say, because it's not self-supporting, and really it's not until you get the poles in, the trekking poles that is at either end, that it's got any sort of stability to it. So in the wind I can see that being a bit of a nuisance. Saying that, as long as it's waterproof, it should be plenty ventilation there. Might get a bit flappy, but you know, here's what it is. Seems to be enough room. It should be warm enough, I hope. Yeah, there's a little bit of wind tonight and even more tomorrow, but it is what it is. We'll see. I've got earplugs, so I don't really mind too much. Right, I'm going to get the rest of my gear set up, get the bed set up, which you've seen before, you don't need to see again. This is the second outing for the Knappack R11 mat. Not that I think it's going to be particularly cold tonight, but I've just got to dial in that comfort level and get the hang of it. Anyway, we shall see how we get on. That's the bedding all in. Size wise, it's a standard 2-person, which is to say not 2 people, 1 person plus gear. I will say that the vestibule size is huge, and because you've got 2 of them, gear storage isn't an issue, really not. Internal size, could you squeeze 2 people in? Maybe. You'd have to be pretty friendly. It wouldn't be too bad, but for one night. But beyond that, it might be a little cosy. Anyway, Reets. Oh. I don't know how much filming I'll get done tonight. I'm quite looking forward to just holding up inside, to be honest, and reading a book or whatever, watching a film maybe. I have downloaded some stuff on the phone and on my Kindle, Fire tablet, whichever. We'll see. I do have a lot of stuff with me today. I'm about to get some of that sorted out now. I mean, coffee. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get coffee. So, brought the fire maple table again. I was going to bring the whole one tigress one and the big chair and all that sort of gubbins, but didn't need to. Yeah. Come on. Another battery change rather. Those will charge in a sec. I'm not really sure how long I'm going to be out for. Whether it's just a day, or overnight rather, or maybe a two-nighter. Oh, I'm not sure. I wanted to come and test out a new stove, but I can't find it. It's gone into the room where all the other stuff goes. Anyway, not important. Still got this one. I was sort of in the mood for a canister stove today. So that's what we're doing. Nice new canister as well. And I'm going to keep the red bits this time. Before I realise I've hidden the mic, hang on. Probably fine, but we'll move it. Should be right there. Yeah. Before, when I've used canisters, I've sort of thrown the red bit away stupidly. There we are. We sit very well on here. Oh well, be alright. Right. Also, I've had this for ages. It came in a set, I think. I've never ever used it, and I just fancied using it, so I'm gonna. I certainly wouldn't lug a kettle if I was going actually having to walk anywhere. Absolutely not. Absolutely daft idea. But you see them. Abel and Victoria always got a kettle, but then his pack must be about bloody 30 kilos. But he's got the physique for it, I guess. Rambling on, always got a kettle. Quite funny, really. Anyway. We'll see how much fun a kettle is. Oh, there we are. Oh, I want to say it's a little chilly today. Let's see what the temperature thinks it is. Uh, 5 degrees, feels like 2 degrees. Yeah, that's about right. It does seem very civilised, using a kettle. We got a little steam, and we have a boil. Very civilised. There we are then. First time using a kettle. I think it came in a kit that was either we found in the loft, never been used, or it was like one of the first things I bought just so I had something to cook with. I can't really remember now. But it boiled water. That is its function. And it did quite well. I don't know about the tent. We'll see when we're in it. It does feel a little short, but that might just be, I'm not used to double skin tents, to be honest. So it's going to be a bit more flappy than my than the Nortent Burn one. Definitely. I think the Taihang Max also 3-up UL gear. The living compartment's certainly a little longer, maybe. Or maybe I just need to stretch things out a little bit more. But it's an interesting design. I was looking at the TFS Anran 2, which is a beautiful looking tent. Similar design, single hoop. I don't think he's trekking poles. I think it might have poles at the end. Can't really remember. But it was a little low, I think. So I was looking for something that had a little bit more height at the ends, as this obviously does. And then when I saw you could do the double pole, that just made it much more sensible. I think it still needs some adjustments. It definitely needs some adjustments. This is just me throwing it up, to be honest, at the moment, and we'll see as I use it. But it's not particularly heavy. I think with the extra poles, it's maybe 1.8, something like that. I'll put the totals on the screen. The weights. Yeah, I think 1.8. I think that's right. It was about just under 1.5 as it was, and then the spare pole I think is like 220 grams maybe. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's got some good vestibule size though, and because it's got vestibules at both ends, both sides rather, you could not going to have a problem with putting gear in, not at all. We'll see when we get in later and see what the space is like, but I'm hoping it'll be good. Got some other new things to show you. I'll wait for my coffee to thing. Again, not use this. So this and the stove was what I really wanted to bring out and try. So this is a little lantern. I assume you light it with that off. Shall we try it? I have brought an old can. Got some in it. I'll have a look. That. Barely any heat off it. Ah. Probably had it turned down too low. Let's try that again. A little bit trial and error. Yeah, a little bit susceptible to the wind. Okay, that's fine. I'll try that again in a minute. I've got juice, so... Come on. What else have we got? Got a little filming light. On a tripod. Very, very cheap, this. It's a Temu special, only a few quid. Black dog. Black dog, isn't that nature hike? Could be. I thought that's their tent brand. Anyway, tiny little tripod. A little light sits on the top. Quite bright. Might be right for the tent. Just for a bit of filming light. What's that? Oh, look at this. Oh, temperature's dropping now. I don't think there'll be a lot of sitting outside today. I have brought my little fire pit, and I brought a couple of these fire logs. I didn't really want to bother lugging wood around, so they'll do. But I might leave those for tomorrow, we'll see. Tips of my fingers getting a little cold. I'll put some gloves on. Yeah. It's gently pinned. Just some cheap gloves I keep, and these trousers, just so I've got something perfectly workable. As far as food goes today, I brought some bacon, I brought some hot dogs and some rolls, some chocolate hobnobs, some cheddars, yes, I'm not really that hungry at the moment. I might have something later. I am quite looking forward to getting in the tent in a minute. Get nice and cosy warm. We'll see. Let's put some light on. very bright enough to add a little to the image though, just a tad. Oh dear me. I don't think I'm the only YouTuber, wild camping YouTuber, that's suffered from not being able to get out, or the weather. I think there's been quite a few of us that have just been demoralised, I think, by the constant rain. I think it's not so bad if you can get out in the in some woods, if you can find a spot where there's no danger of any widowmakers or anything like that. It's not too bad. And if it's, you know, if it can drain okay. But we don't really have that sort of option here. And obviously we've got woods, but they're all on the side of a mountain. So yes, they drain okay, but that's because they're at 45 degrees. But still. It is nice to get out. Definitely feel that temperature dropping. I don't think it's supposed to get below about 2 tonight, but it'll be feels like -2, won't it? We aren't due any snow, I don't think. It's going to rain later on tonight, tomorrow morning, probably most of tomorrow. But that's okay. I didn't bring a tarp, I was going to. That's a bit silly. I wonder if I've got one in the car. It's possible. But I just have to sit in the tent. We'll see. I'm just installing the update for my Motorola Bullet, which is this. Now this is, you've seen a Garmin InReach Mini 2 and 3. Well, this is a cheap bastards version. It's a Motorola Defy, it's called, and it's basically, I think it cost me about 40 quid, 50 quid maybe, but then it's £10 a month, and that gives you unlimited satellite messaging. Now, not that I go anywhere particularly off the beaten path, but for instance, if I'm down in the Beacons, there's no 4G there, nothing at all. So this just gives me another way of making sure I can stay safe. I can send a check-in notification to people, and all the other stuff. Okay. It also gives me, so I can send things like that, which is a little map of, and a pin of exactly where I am. But it also means I've got an emergency SOS function. So that's all including your £10 a month. I wouldn't suggest it was any good for, you know, taking to Yosemite Park and doing that. I don't think they're covered. But certainly in the UK you are covered for being picked up in an emergency situation. I think that's quite good for £10. If you look at the cost, you know, the actual cost of a Garmin device, for instance, you know, the device is going to cost you anywhere, I don't know, £180 up, more if you want a new one. You do see them second hand, but they're not many, and they're not cheap still. The biggest kicker is the monthly cost. I think the monthly cost was something like £25 a month, and that had a limit. That had a messaging limit, and it had a check-in limit, and you were only SOS covered up to blah, or whatever it was, amount, insurance-wise. And it seemed very, very, very expensive. I'm sure it's probably a better system. It may well be better coverage. Probably not in the UK, but maybe abroad. I think the coverage in the UK should be no problem at all with this Motorola device. It does have an SOS function. You press the button for, I think it's 5 seconds before it will key off. Or you can send the SOS message on your phone. So for the messaging, you have to have your phone connected to it. It's not like one of the InReach where you've got a small screen, or I think in InReach 3 you can actually type messages on the device itself. Anyway, it is something better than nothing for an emergency situation. I would encourage anyone that is doing any sort of hiking up and down mountains, going in places where other people aren't or don't frequent too much, really should think about getting one of those devices. If not, the Motorola one on the cheap side, look at the Garmin's. They've got various ones, but they are quite expensive to run, so just check the monthly costs. But have something with you, even if it's the latest iPhone that has satellite messaging capability. I don't know how good that is. I don't know how widespread that is. Would I want to rely on that? I don't know. I guess another thing is that this is an independent device, so you have an independent power to it. If your phone dies, sure, you can't message, but you can still use the SOS function if you needed to. That wouldn't happen if you were relying solely on your iPhone. So, there we are. Anyway, I have one. I hope I never have to press the button. I very much doubt if I will, because I just don't do that sort of thing. It's not me. But it is good to have some form of communication availability when you are out of 4G signal. And to be honest, that's quite often in Wales. So, there we are. I'm thinking about eating, but I don't really think I want to. I'm not actually that hungry today. What I might do is just pack down, pack away, get everything in the vestibule, which pretty much is anyway. Maybe have enough gear out for a cup of hot chocolate later if I've managed to pick one up. Did I pick up a hot chocolate? Because that would be daft if I didn't, if I haven't got one. I do, I've got one, that's okay. So I might have that later. I might have some biscuits now. We'll see really. But yeah, I'm losing the light. The time is almost 5 to 6. I could light one of the logs, but I don't want to sit outside for another hour. Or 2 hours, however long they burn for. If I don't fancy cooking, I do have some dehydrated milk I could eat if I wanted to, if I wasn't that fussed. But at the minute, I think I might just get into camp. I have got my little micro heated blanket going already, just to take the edge off. Why not? I'll show you that inside. Yeah, I'm going to pack away and get in the tent. Right, I'm in the tent now. It's 6. It's not too cold, but it's not too warm either. More like, I just feel like lazing around. Lost stuff already. Anyway, I'll bring you back later on. Been laying down for a little while. It's now about 10:07, something like that. Okay, batteries are starting to play up because it's cold. It's about 1 degree now. That's okay. I think I'm going to put a yet another GoPro battery change. Doing my head in. Anyway, might put a film on. I might watch a bit of Stargate SG-1. Now that's back on Netflix. And I'm getting some cheddars. That's what I'm going to do. I might have hot chocolate later. Yeah, I'll bring you back when I do hot chocolate. Well, it's been raining on and off all night. A little bit windy. It's got more windy this morning. It's quite blowy actually. The inner of this tent moves around quite a lot, but it's quite a quiet material, so it's not too bad. I think this is you're going to spend the day in the tent for the day. I'm alright with that. I'll just sleep. Yeah, not too bad. So, been trying to wait for the weather to calm down, but I've just checked the Met Office, and the wind's just not going to bugger off until tomorrow. So it's 29 kilometres an hour, whatever that is, but it's gusting quite hard. This tent really not designed for heavy wind. It is just the single pole design, even though I've got 2 poles in it. It's handling it okay, but I can see the fly touching the inner now as it's sort of sagging in the rain as well. Not sure what to do. I think I'll give it another half an hour and see what happens. If it calms down a bit, I might stay. Otherwise, I might look to pack up.
Yeah, I'm having to pack away. The wind's not easing off, it's just getting worse. And I probably could stay out, but I don't think it'd be a very enjoyable night. So I'm going to pack away, call it a day for this one. And maybe I'll talk to you when I'm in the car.